What's good, listeners? Happy St. Patrick's Day. Welcome to the Chris College Show, Millennial Talk Show. Good morning, Marissa. How's it going, fam?
Oh, it is going. Oh, where am I? Where am I? There we are.
There
It's
you are,
going
fam.
beautiful. Hello, happy St. Patty's Day.
See, I like how
Woo!
you try to make something
I'm
happen
trying.
because I
I'm
know
trying.
in the
There's
world that
green.
we're in, people are probably wondering, Chris, you're Irish. Like, what the hell's going on? Where's the green? Well, believe it or not, we're behind a green screen. So, I
I
mean, I
know.
could
I
have put
tried to
something
wear
on my
my little
ringer.
shamrocks, but it's not. It's kind of silvery, so it'll look a little bit.
But clearly the world is celebrating St. Patrick's Day, and I wanted to showcase this, Marissa, because I've always kind of felt like this was a bit random. Let me get me out of there. Why is this still a tradition?
Making the rivers green.
Yeah, right here in Chicago. I know they've been doing this for
I think it's
years
awesome.
now. You think it's awesome?
I think it's awesome. I know in Savannah, my stepsister lives there, and their rivers are green and it's gorgeous. And I wish I was there celebrating right now.
But I kept thinking about the incident last month, in Ohio, right, where all the fish were all tainted and stuff like that, and it was like, what the hell is going on? Like, what are we going to do about that? But hey, we wanted to have some laughs. I put together some of these very funny memes that were circulating across the web because, after all, it is St. Patrick's Day. And let's go ahead and showcase some of those right now live on air. So this is how I imagine us right now in America. We're just going to be partying our asses off all day, probably a Jameson in hand, while Ireland has changed nothing. They don't even put any green dye in their beer. But then again, Marissa, you were telling me on air, like, that's truly not the case.
I have friends who've gone to Ireland for St. Patty's Day. They do celebrate. They do go off. They do not drink green beer. That is a weird American thing. They do not
what about
drink
the Chicago
green beer.
River? Because they put like 40 pounds of green dye in their river.
They definitely don't dye the rivers green. There's enough greenery there. They don't need to add more green. But they do drink. I guess it's every day for the Irish.
But what about, St. Patrick's Day? I mean, I think we need to start viewing it like Valentine's Day because after all, it's for people who love to drink Jameson and make bad decisions.
Yep.
But call your Uber tonight.
That's right.
Don't be that person.
DUIs. Don't get that
because
DUI.
We don't quite have a 4-day work week, but we're going to get there at one point during our conversation of the Chris College Show. But let's move it on because I saw this meme and it made me laugh. This is you, Marissa, clearly right now. When you buy a leprechaun hat from Target and you're waiting for your friends to say something about it, Marissa, it's not quite a leprechaun hat, but you got the clovers. Look at you,
You should have seen me earlier when I was working. It was so funny. I talked all day when I was working like a leprechaun, and I was on my knees, and I was running around. For those of you who don't know, I'm also teach at a gym. So I was a leprechaun all day.
No wonder we can never find the leprechaun at the end of the rainbow because of what you just did, Marissa. No pot of gold coming to the Chris College Show.
What's up? Go be a leprechaun. It's a lot of fun.
Or what about, why do leprechauns laugh when they run? Because the grass tickles their balls, Marissa.
That's funny. I have not come across that one yet. That one is funny. I like that one.
I mean, let's not shame little people. We're not talking about small people. We're talking about little people. We're not even talking about midget people. We're talking about leprechauns here, okay? So just let them do their thing. You know what made me think about this too, Marissa?
What?
In Mexico last week, the president said he found a leprechaun. So I imagine this is what he heard in his sleep when he was running around his house. That's all I imagine. But let's go to the next one. No, this is not for the Irish people. This is for St. Patrick, the one man who rules them all in Bikini Bottom.
I love it.
But then again, we have last one. I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking island. Samuel L. Jackson is
St. Patty.
Truly the king of St. Patty's Day. But we got an amazing show for everybody that's tuning into the Chris College Show, Millennial Talk Show, because it's jam-packed. Let me just put it that way. Because joining us on Just Talking is one and only writer and director Ryan Lacen to talk about his film, All the World is Sleeping, as well as Denver pop punk kings, Barry Mia. Oh my gosh, this is going to be a lot of fun. And also check out my brand new Off the Fret podcast, more music talk, featuring Nashville country star Amanda Cooksey, out now on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. And every Tuesday, I do a video game talk show called Rage Quit. You can find all the episodes on YouTube or join us live every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Well, all right, Marissa, it is time to rock and roll. This one's called Say It.
I'm beyond livid.
That's what's been irking me like crazy.
Psycho X.
We hope that he grows from this.
No, legit, I was trying to figure that out also.
Whatever's on our mind, there's something that's been griping.
So, I get to just say it.
That's my question, Marissa. This is Say It, where Marissa and I discuss all the latest news that's circulating around the world. Well, in particular, this one's happening more in our nation, but it started off across the pond, so let me set the tone. Progressive Democrats are renewing a push to make 4-day work weeks federal law, which lead sponsor, Representative Mark Takano of California, saying the change will give Americans more time to, quote, live, play, enjoy life more fully outside of work. You know, I was kind of curious, why didn't he propose just 0 work weeks? I kind of like that idea a little bit better, Marissa. But hey, I got some of the tweets that were circulating live on the air, so let's go ahead and showcase some of them, and let's go ahead and drop the lower third caption. Well, Nina Turner's already kicking it off. She says 4-day work week. No argument there. Grant Cardone wrote earlier this week, I asked if implementing a 4-day work week in America would be a good idea. These guys are trying to put you guys on the sidelines. Unemployment is going to go up. People complain about being unable to afford eggs, yet they still want more time off. Well, clearly Grant doesn't get the case because he did a poll on his own Twitter account with over 21,000 votes on Twitter, and people want a 4-day work week. But as you can clearly see, ladies and gentlemen, it should be the weekend right now. It's not quite there just yet, but I think Daniel Craig's onto something, Marissa. And so when you think down the lines, you know, you got people, which was really funny, listeners. This was a thread that got going way more on like political outlets like CNN or Fox News. This got going on an account called Rap House TV 2. And one individual was like, 4-day work week is the future. 4-day work week experiment in UK results. This was a pilot, by the way, CCS family. And what they've said is 90% of the businesses involved continued to stick with 4-day weeks. The revenue stayed the same. 65% less sick days were taken, and 71% of employees report lower levels of burnout. And you also got some people inside that same thread that said, it's the same with starting the school day a few hours a little later. Statistically, all students perform better, show up more, less small crime, and etc. Which is funny because I know a lot of teachers out there in the state of California hate that they gotta be in school longer. But one guy wrote, lol, man, we already broke working 5-day work weeks. And then y'all got it more than anybody. So you got the 4-day weekend. Do we got it? Do we got it, baby? So, Marissa, let me bring you back on into the mix. Clearly, this was because there was a pilot program that was going across the pond in the United Kingdom where they are trying to heavily push for more people to do 4-day work weeks. I mean, sounds cool in the end, but I'm just afraid that you'll lose your benefits if we went down this route. What's your thoughts on all this?
Well, that's one of the things too. First off, not everybody can do a 4-day work week. I mean, let's be realistic. Ain't no doctor going to do a 4-day work week. But so you have other ones that won't. The average office job, if they do that, one of the things that I haven't heard them talking about is benefits, like you said. In order to get full benefits, it's 40 hours a week. That's what it is. Right. So if you're now at 32 hours a week, are you no longer a full-time employee, which means you lose all your benefits? So we haven't really heard that being bandied around about changing it. Maybe if this became a thing, it would. I honestly think it's just flapping in the wind. There isn't going to be a 4-day work week. We are 5 days, people. Suck it up. Go to work.
Because I know like, there were stories in like, you know, Seattle, Washington, where they're like, no, they're about to start implementing this literally next month in April. And I go, well, yeah, clearly that could work in a city like over there. But I can't imagine it working in New York or Chicago or even LA, matter of fact. So
they still have to address the fact about the benefits. And as an employer, if they can get away from not paying benefits, I'd do it too.
So it sounds like, CCS family, if you want to work a 4-day work week, you're going to need to move to Montana where there's nothing. Sorry, Montana. No shame against you, but like it's pretty flat over there. There's no theme parks. There's no nothing. I mean, what are you going to do?
Go ride some horses.
Go ride some horses, shoot deer, whatever the
horses.
hell they do out there. I don't even know. Do they even celebrate St. Patrick's Day? I mean,
Of course.
do they even have internet access? I mean,
I think all Americans celebrate St. Patty's Day just like all Americans celebrate Cinco de Mayo.
I just assume people in Montana are like the last of the Mohicans, and they're just like last to get everything.
No.
Well, thank God Marissa clearly spilled it out right here on the Chris College Show, Millennial Talk Show. But hey, stick around as we got so much more left on this jam-packed show. What's good, listeners? Joining us on Just Talking is director and writer Ryan Lacen, live on the Chris College Show, Millennial Talk Show. How's it going, fam?
What's going on, guys?
Hi, welcome. Happy St. Patty's Day.
Yes. How are you setting the tone for today? Do you have a Jameson in hand at the start of the show?
I don't yet, just because my movie's coming out today, so I thought, I should probably ease into the day a little bit.
That's so true.
Shit face falling over.
I just want to make sure I have a little bit of, vernacular going.
Hey, well, you know what? We appreciate you so much coming on the day of the debut of your world premiere of your film, All the World is Sleeping. And since we are a video on air production, why don't we set the tone and let the CCS family that is tuning in live on our, wherever you guys are streaming this show on your platforms, on the video side. So let's go ahead and play that trailer now, Marissa.
Sometimes I can feel the sky as it rotates. It scatters my thoughts.
You're my baby girl, you're all I got.
And it'll grow louder, more aggressive. I look up and I know I can keep them together. And then it rains.
One of these times, they're gonna take her away.
We need help! Who's gonna help us?
Why are you here?
Because I need to get my daughter back!
You can do something for the world that's beyond yourself.
You think you got like a choice, really? We gotta fight.
I wonder if you can hear me.
So badass. So good.
Such a good film.
Earlier. they froze me here. But Ryan, set the tone for the CCS family. Give us a rundown about what your brand new film is all about.
Yeah, so basically, All the World is Sleeping. It's about survival. It's about trying to make it in a world that doesn't go easy on you. And the film follows a mother who's struggling with addiction while also trying to surface for her daughter. And the film basically just kind of asks us to, put ourselves in someone else's shoes, because we spend so much time of our life just, like judging other people. And this film was like, hey, before you point a finger at someone who's dealing with addiction, let's pull that curtain back. Let's see what experiences they've been through. Let's see their life.
And what were the challenges of making this film?
Well, I think making an independent film at any point, you're coming with tons of challenges, obstacles, uphill battles. But this film, it's based off the true story of 7 women who have fought and continue to fight against addiction. So I think the biggest challenge for me was just to make sure that I was doing their voice justice, and I was being able to tell their story in a way that they felt that they were being heard and seen.
Very cool, Ryan.
I have a quick question though. Have you yourself struggled with addiction? Is that one reason that's made you want to make this type of movie?
Not me personally, but there's a lot of addiction in my family and with my family and friends. And, people around us, like the neighborhood too. So it's one of those issues that I feel like affects almost every single household.
Oh yeah, my dad's an addict. He's
Yeah.
24 years sober. So luckily has beat it, but I understand that addiction and what it does to families, how hard it is.
Yeah, absolutely, Marissa. And I know filmmakers today, Ryan, they dream about, directing blockbuster movies like Star Wars or Indiana Jones or superhero films. So how do you choose a script that you want to direct?
Well, this one actually came to me. I did a film a couple of years ago called The Dust Storm, which was this like dark, romantic, like rip the scab off of relationships type films. And that did the whole film festival circuit. And this nonprofit in New Mexico saw it, and they're like, "Well, if this guy can do, what he did for the state of Nashville, or the city of Nashville, where it's filmed, maybe he can come back here to Albuquerque and do a movie here that kind of portrays it, the same way." So they invited me down to New Mexico. I met with the 7 women that have battled addiction, heard their stories, and then they asked me to kind of create a screenplay off of that.
And what are the toughest aspects of making a film?
I mean, the toughest aspects always comes down to budget. The more money you have, the more time you have to kind of put into it. For this film, we shot the whole movie in 18 days. So, like if you're on a big budget movie set, you might be shooting, 2 pages a day, 3 pages a day. We were at sometimes 6, 7 pages with a script that also involves, a car crash, a fake rain, fire, kids, multiple time settings. I basically put every single hard thing possible in the script, and then, challenged myself and the crew to be like, okay, cool, let's try to pull this off in 18 days.
And how do you motivate your actors such as Melissa, to perform in a movie with complexities of trauma? Because you don't want a bunch of like high-end, high, loose screwed, method actors running around on set, right? So how do you set the tone?
Well, they always say too that the best thing you can do as a director is just hire a good cast, because then half of your job is done for you. And to have like an amazing cast like Melissa and Jackie Cruz, Kristen Gutowski, Luis Bordenada, like the entire cast was just so phenomenal that it was so much easier for myself just to be able to like set the frame and kind of let them do their thing. But in regards to just kind of like making sure that they were doing the script justice to, like, the world of addiction, we had the women that inspired the film on set as kind of the consultants. So every single scene that we did, I would be able to check with them and be like, okay, does this feel authentic? Does this feel real? Melissa was able to go to them and be like, hey, you just watched what I just did. Is that kind of right? Am I doing
Okay, I cannot say how amazing that is. So I watched the film and I was like, wow, this is actually literally what goes through. I struggled with addiction before, stuff like that. I hate watching movies if someone's smoking and they're not a smoker, right? They're like faking it or what. I'm not saying to actually smoke, but when you've gone through certain shoes and you don't have somebody on set to say, hey, look, that is so not real. Me, the audience, I can tell. And the fact you had them on set, like, I give you kudos for that, because I don't think a lot of directors would go through that much of a strive to have that type of reality.
Yeah, there's so many moments in there too. Like, I didn't want to have to make up a scenario. If I hadn't, directly been involved in, a particular situation, it was perfect having someone there that I can turn to and be like, am I doing this right? Am I doing everything, correct? And they'd give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. The thumbs down, I'm like, okay, we need to stop. We need to readdress the scene. What do we need to change up?
And
Blooper.
Yeah, right. So Ryan, was the aim of the film to like push back against the stigma faced by like pregnant women and people who live in cycles of addiction?
Yeah, I think too that the biggest thing like I wanted to do is just create something that would, I guess, ask the audience to have a little bit more empathy and to create a conversation too. That the goal with this is, you watch the film and then you're able to go out and talk about it a little bit more. And then maybe somebody who's watching this film, and I don't know, to go use your reference of Montana from earlier, you're in Montana, you're watching this film, and maybe like addiction isn't something prevalent to like your world, but now maybe you're more apt to have a conversation about it.
And since you said kind of at the top of the show that, addiction has kind of been in your life, I mean, not necessarily you, but people, your friends and family, and et cetera, what are the resources that are so desperately needed for families living with substance abuse?
That's a good question too, and I feel like every city just needs to have more outlets for to deal with addiction. Because I think a lot of times too, it's one of those things where we kind of sweep a little bit of it under the rug. People would rather just kind of look away than kind of deal with it. And when people are out there like crying for help, we need to have certain things in place to be like, hey, you can go here to get help. This is available. These resources are here for you. And the nonprofit that helped basically put this whole thing together is called Bold Futures, and they're a New Mexico-based nonprofit that deals with culture shift. And their whole base is just to kind of help people and give them the resources they need to get back, on their feet.
Right. Because as a visual medium, some people, I remember we spoke during our first year too. We had a gentleman named Pat McGee. He was a documentary director, and he went down to Florida, and he was actually filming some of the people that were going through these cycles of addiction and substance abuse. And some of the criticism that he got, Ryan, was that you're documenting fear porn. What do you say to people who might say that about your own film? About why do you even want to highlight this in the first place? I mean, how do we even prevent substance abuse in the first place?
I think that's insane too for people to even point the fear porn out like an issue that's such a huge epidemic in America and the world. It's obvious that we have a societal issue with addiction, and that's something that needs to be talked about until it's it's eradicated at least kind of under contained a little bit more. And for people to just kind of point that finger at it and be like, oh, this is fear porn, you're just trying to scare society. It's like, good, let's get scared. Let's talk about this. Let's fix this. Let's do whatever we can. So therefore more families aren't, affected by this anymore.
And now with fentanyl being out there, I mean, that is so scary. You can't just go out nowadays, someone who does a 9-to-5 normal life and once a year maybe does some cocaine in Vegas, right? Those days are gone because honestly, people are dying off of pills they think are okay, not even just a hardcore drug, something small. Children, this is happening, and there's more talk coming through in our Congress because it's affecting. It's not just low income. It's not just.
I thought you were about to say it's affecting Congress people. Congress
is addressing it because it's affecting families. Just like you said, Ryan, this is a family issue. It is an American issue, right? It needs to be addressed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ryan, let's switch gears a little bit because we are speaking with a filmmaker, director, and writer. And the Oscars were literally last Sunday. And I got to ask you, because you are a filmmaker, it is an award-winning film that you've been circulating across all the film festivals. But is this award ceremony still relevant?
I personally love the Oscars. I grew up watching the Oscars every year.
Okay, but you said personally, though. Was that a little snub or a jab at the Academy Awards?
Well, no, I definitely can see people's criticism over the years. Everyone's like, it gets longer and longer as it goes. But I feel like if you're a cinephile, if you love, movies, you gotta appreciate the Oscars. And this year, too, was one of the first years where, the top 10 Oscars was the top 10 best pictures were such a wider range. You had blockbusters in there. You had little indie films. You had a weird action movie that won Best Picture. It's great.
And so that's a great point that you're referencing that because, Ryan, I remember I had a debate with Fox film critic Alyssa Wilkinson seasons ago on the Chris Collins Show about how I'm not the biggest fan of theme park rides. You might have heard that coined term from Martin Scorsese about Marvel cinematic films. But I always felt like Avengers Endgame should have been nominated as Best Picture.
Good.
So does the popularity of a film equate to the worthiness of Academy Award?
Well, we had Top Gun 2 nominated this year, and that made almost $2 billion at the box office, and every single person saw that. So I think now that we're actually nominating films like that, I think that's kind of going to open it up for, future Oscars.
Yeah, I do wonder how much Scientology paid to get that nominated.
You think there's? I was thinking of that about women talking.
Just throwing that out there. No Scientology conspiracy. I'm just kidding.
But don't you think it's a cliche because you kind of just mentioned at the top of the show about how your own film started off as an indie independent project that got its foot lifted, and we're clearly seeing with studios like A24 that low budget films they can become Oscar worthy. We just saw the recent success of a kung fu dildo butt plug taekwondo film. So were you hyped up about Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Oh, absolutely. Not only was that movie amazing, but for the fact that that movie went from like this little indie from A24 to becoming a box office hit to now getting Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, and Best Supporting Actor is huge.
And so with these recent changes, I mean, would you say that the Academy Award still plays a role in shaping the film industry as a whole?
I do, and especially for like kind of some of the smaller films, that don't make that $2 billion at the box office, like Top Gun 2. Now they get the stage to be able to be seen, so more people are going to go watch. Like Banshees of Inisherin. That's a film that did not so great at the box office, but with all the attention.
Sorry, that was like my favorite film. It was
her favorite.
amazing. It was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, but don't you sometimes think the problem, nowadays, especially with some of the, I mean, I get you, all the films that were nominated for Best Picture, except Women Talking, I thought it was terrible. The problem is, it's that there's too many outlets. I mean, not enough films are going to the movie theaters. A good amount are going to streaming services. There's even an LA Times report saying that almost half of the people in the nation haven't even seen these films. Are you concerned about that with more releases in the future in your world of filmmaking?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, if I think about it too much, I probably won't be able to sleep at night. So I try not to focus too much on that. But I will say too, like, I am glad that even All the World Sleeping got a theatrical release, because we're in an era right now where like most of the theaters, the cineplexes are being taken over by Shazam 2 and Creed 3. So to even get this like small independent film in theaters was a huge win for me. So I hope that I can continue to make films and they keep getting played in theaters, because that would be, the dream coming true.
Absolutely, Ryan. And, for inspiring filmmakers who want to make that next big step to turning their feature film into a reality, what is your advice?
My biggest advice is just to do it, especially for like filmmakers too. Everyone's like, okay, I want to make a movie. I have to make a movie, but you can't just sit around until like it just miraculously comes to you. You have to go out, you have to pursue it, you have to shoot whatever you feel is like the story that you have to get out there. And then once that's done, it's just trying to get it into the world and fight for it to be seen. Because even with this film too, we had so many offers originally for the film just be dropped on streaming and just kind of to disappear off in the ether. And we fought hard for this theatrical release. So if you know that you want your film out there for the widest audience, you got to fight for it.
Hey, I love that, man, because I know being a filmmaker, it requires a lot of expertise and patience, to become one of the, something that's going to be something special. And, you have to handle everything that's around you at all times, on set and off set. So what keeps you motivated?
I think when you surround yourself with good people, and then, even with the chaos that's going on in the circus of like the film, you just look around and you see like you're doing this together. It's such a collaborative job. So like everybody has to depend on each other in order for the day to get made. So even when I get stressed on set, I look over, I see, the DP hustling right there. I see our actors, like getting ready in front of the camera. And that's what kind of inspires me to be like, to at least try to get to the top of my game each day.
That's cool.
And I love it, Ryan. And I know you're going to be wearing green. You're going to have a Jameson in hand. You're going to be celebrating your brand new film. But do you have any more plans in the coming months?
Yeah, well, All the World Sleeping has taken up the last like year and a half of my life. So now that that's coming out today, I can finally move on to the next film. So just completed a script, put that out onto the world for producers. So hopefully, fingers crossed, financing comes through this summer.
Yeah.
Is that a satisfying feeling to know that your film's finally out, or do you just get more hungry?
I mean, I feel like I always stay hungry. I never get too content, and that's what I think keeps me the drive going. But there is definitely a weight off the shoulders knowing that, the film has a home and the audience to come see it. Because before you get this, you have this good movie. But like, how do people come see this? And now I'm like, well, great, go to the theaters. Catch it on VOD today.
Love it.
And that's so badass. And I know that you're pushing very hard for people to come to the theaters. I mean, where are some of those places that you could get tickets now? Yeah,
so it's playing in California, Texas, Minnesota, New Mexico, Ohio, basically all across the United States.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Awesome.
That is incredible. Well, Ryan, I got to thank you again for joining the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show. You are an amazing soul. And for everybody that's tuning in right now to the Chris Collins Show, do it, do it, do it. All the World is Sleeping is out now today on demand, or go to your theaters. Show Ryan Lacen what's good. Thank you so much, brother, for joining Just Talking.
So wonderful chatting with both of you.
Thank you. Happy St. Patty's Day.
Happy
Yes,
St.
happy
Patty's
St.
Day, my friend. Take it easy on the Jameson shots for me, though. We want to see a Q&A talk back at the end of the film.
Absolutely.
Well, rock and roll. What's good, listeners? Joining us live on Strike A Chord is Denver, Colorado, Pop Punk Kings, Barry Mia, live on the Chris College Show, Millennial Talk Show. Also, check out my latest episode with Nashville country star Amanda Cooksey, out now on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. That is my Off the Fret music podcast. But how you doing, gentlemen?
Doing awesome. Doing awesome. Nice to be here.
Well, hey, we appreciate you, brother, because in the end, we do got the Pop Punk Kings. And on the very top of your homepage, on your band's website, it reads, Reinventing Pop Punk. How is Barry Mia doing this?
That's a good question. I mean, I think we're super inspired by a lot of like the early 2000s bands, and we're just trying to take some of that music, some of the brand new, the Taking Back Sunday, the Blink-182, and kind of reprocess it through our ears and try to make some good stuff. So we're just trying to make something new. It should be fun.
No, I think that's super badass.
Awesome.
And when it comes to, pop punk bands and the sound today, I mean, how is the genre deferred from the early 2000s?
I think it's matured. I mean, you have all these kids that were in high school when the genre was kind of coming out, and now everyone's, in college or they're, adults working a, 40-hour work week or whatever. So you kind of see that in the genre itself, that we're learning as musicians as well as adults and kind of putting that in our music.
I think that's a good point you just referenced, because I think you have matured. I mean, I'm looking at your song title right now for your brand new single, and I don't know too many of the youth that would be relating to this right now, but literally, quote, the title is called, We've Been Trying to Reach You About Your Car's Extended Warranty.
I get that freaking phone call 2 to 3 times a day. 2 to 3. Like, I bought a new car, and I guess I got this is like 10 years ago I bought a new car. And I swear for last 4 years, I've gotten this message 2 to 3 times a day. It drives me crazy.
So are you saying that you've seen a change in the fan base when it comes to the pop punk scene?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, myself in the crowd too. Like, you go to any shows and you notice it's a little bit of an older crowd, not old necessarily, but adults that are like, you know what, I gotta take my, ibuprofen before I go in the pit, because I know that I do.
Are you going to be the person that's wearing a back brace too when you jump in?
I definitely probably will be in the next year or two.
Well, okay, no stage diving from you.
Oh, no, you got to keep stage diving. You got to keep stage diving. You got to get a couple more drinks, 4 ibuprofens, and you are good to go.
I don't know, because if Devin's head hits the canvas, it's going to be called Barry Devin at the end of the show. Okay, so let's keep it with the band name that we got right now. But since I was already kind of setting the tone, you guys got an amazing brand new single that cracks me up with how long the title track is, because it reminds me of the early days with bands like Chiodos, that would just love to you just love to see your media player just keep scrolling and scanning. I think it's so freaking hilarious. So tell us about the inspiration behind this song.
The inspiration behind the song is a lot of mental health issues. So kind of being stuck inside, basically stuck inside, quarantine and stuff. Not doing much, kind of getting back to the new ways, and trying to reach out to people that maybe you haven't reached out to in a while.
Did it kind of feel like that as a band as a whole, where, we've been isolated for so long and we haven't had that live interaction that we get at live concerts? And did you feel the weight of all that when it became time to actually get the locomotive going for Barry Mia to get going and activate and rock and roll?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I was going to say, absolutely true. I think a lot of people realize that musicians and artists in general, we may not be like the most sane individuals around. I think we do our best to put a lot of our mental health issues sometimes into music. And so when something like quarantine happens and you're suddenly looking at like, we're not going to be able to play shows for 6 months or something along those lines, I don't know, it's defeating. And I think you hear a lot of that in car warranty, which is what we call it for short. Yeah, absolutely.
So when you went through this defeating moment, I mean, how did you guys utilize your time as a band? Was it recording new music? Was it polishing up your live sound? Talk to me.
It was a little bit of all of it, man. So at first we didn't know what the hell to do because you're like, how do we communicate? Do we FaceTime each other and do like a FaceTime band practice? How do we do this? So once things kind of settled up a little bit, we got together. We worked on a lot of new music. We worked on kind of tone, how we wanted to sound, and where we wanted to kind of take Barry Mia to the next level.
Very cool, man. And like, what is the message that you hope that your fans and even the brand new listeners from the CCS family will take away from your new single?
I mean, reach out to people. They're having a hard time. Not everyone is living, perfect. Reach out to those people you think are struggling. They'd appreciate the phone call. They'd appreciate just talking, even a text, just checking in on your friends, man.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, brother. I mean, sometimes I'm just as guilty. I mean, I think that's, the pun with your song title, the extended car warranty, kind of like my co-host Marissa Pitts was joking about, because I feel like with our generation, I know Marissa hates me for this, but like, I don't create a voicemail. I hate it. I hate picking up the phone.
Drives me nuts. If I can't leave you a message, because I'm a little old school, I get so upset.
So what is up with that with our generation? Like, I don't really know the answer to it. I mean, I have no problem picking up the phone. It's just like, I'm just like, that's the old way. Is sometimes the old way not always good to stick with, or what?
Right.
Well, I think what's kind of cool too, and even though social media has something kind of removed, like a fakeness to it, I've kept in contact with a lot of my friends who I don't necessarily text or call through social media. I mean, do you guys feel that social media is a way to reach out, or does it just seem too far removed and fake, and you should call and pick up the phone?
I mean, I feel like it's a good way to reach out, but at the end of the day, like, a lot of what you see on social media is still just like what somebody's putting as their best foot forward. You don't see a lot of the trauma and really what's going on. I mean, even just myself, what was this, 2021? My dad died and my daughter was born and almost died in the process right around the same time.
Oh, scary.
And I'm sure if you look at my Facebook, none of that's on there. Nothing's on Instagram. Instagram is like fan stuff, so people don't know that stuff. And yeah, I think, and I agree with that. You got to reach out, and especially I think within like men's mental health. I mean, I know it's been kind of taboo for a while, but man,
Yes.
I feel like go to therapy, man. Like I'm a huge like proponent of therapy. Like if you're feeling it, go. But we also got to be our own therapists and do that for our friends as
And
well.
therapy should be a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know. I looked into it, man, and I can't afford it. I'm sorry. I cannot afford therapy. I look at stuff. They want $75 for an hour. I can barely pay my bills.
Well, to me, I know the best kind of therapy is listening to kick-ass music.
Yeah.
And I know with what you guys are doing with your brand new single, and again, I'm not going to cut it short. I will say the full title, okay? I promise that, Barry. The song that we put together for a lyric video here on the Chris College Show is called "We've Been Trying to Reach You About Your Car's Extended Warranty," live on the Chris College Show Millennial Talk Show. It's time to rock and roll, baby.
Back against the wall. Watch it sit down towards the sun. I stare straight at the wall. Well, eyes closed, and then I'm so desperate as I say I'm calling. Eyes closed, and then I'm so desperate as I say I'm calling. I need something else to calm my nerves and avoid a total breakdown, or just fake a smile, 'cause I can't be who I wanna be, and each day my head gets the best of me as I stare straight at the wall. Watch it sit down towards the sun. I stare straight at the wall. Well, eyes closed, and then I'm so desperate as I say I'm calling. Eyes closed, and then I'm so desperate as I say I'm calling. Orange, red, green, yellow, and purple. Skylines of trees never falter. Long roads running in circles. Will I ever get it? Will I ever get it? I can't remember the last time. I can't remember the last time. Open up my senses, tell me. Got a blue sky kind of envy. Going up my senses, tell me. Got a blue sky kind of envy. Going up my senses, tell me. Got a blue sky kind of envy.
Yeah, that's what's good. That is the brand new single by the Denver Pop Punk Kings, Barry Mia. The song is called We've Been Trying to Reach You About Your Car's Extended Warranty. And gentlemen, please,
Fabulous.
we need a visual for that badass track. It is so freaking good. I know that is like the very first tease to brand new music, but I've been seeing online you guys are working out a brand new EP in the works. Is that what I'm hearing?
Ooh.
We're thinking so. We have a release plan for a couple more singles to come out in the coming months. And then we hit back into the studio a little bit in
Early June.
June.
Nice. And so, how does Barry Mia prepare to enter the studio to record new music? Is there anything that you like to bring in, or do you guys just go, I got nothing, let's figure it out?
We basically, so we'll have our songs fully polished to what Barry Mia's standards are. So we'll basically lock ourselves in our studio.
Okay, and that's
like,
that's
all right.
an interesting point. You just said there's a standard. Okay, and what is
Yeah.
that standard that's set in place?
Basically that everyone is kind of happy with what they've written as well as the other parts. So we kind of know what tone we're going for in the song. And no one's just kind of like, I'm kind of off about this
Were you
part.
guys still in isolation? I mean, are you guys sending like MP3 tracks to each other, or are you guys actually getting together in one location?
It's a little bit of both. Most of the time we'll lock all four of ourselves in our studio and we'll just kind of play and kind of see what comes of it, spend hours on, working on the melodies and the guitar tracks. But then we'll also individually, record on our own time and send messages out and be like, hey, listen, look what I did in my basement.
And I like that a lot. So like walk us through like the creative process on like how the band writes and record music. I mean, how do you guys approach bringing your vision to life?
I mean, I think a lot of the times it's going to start with like one riff that is really catchy. I mean, for Car Warranty, you hear that opening riff in the guitar. That's really what started it all off, along with a drum beat that our drummer Marcus came up with, and it just goes from there. Sometimes, like Devin and I will bring kind of a fully formed song to the practice, but usually we're kind of starting off with some core material and then just everybody's layering on top of it. So it's pretty cool. I think, we're kind of on like the DIY budget plan a lot of the time. So we like try to go into the studio with everything prepared. So we're kind of set up.
I like that DIY budget plan. I haven't heard that one. That does definitely make sense. You want to utilize every time and dollar when
Yeah,
you jump into
exactly.
that studio space. And since you were talking about how usually you produce the melodies first, but I can only imagine when you guys start coming up with the lyrical content, you might have to like revise your lyrics so it fits like the overall mood or tone of the song. Do you remember a time when you guys had to do that recently?
I mean, yeah, with Car Warranty and our other two singles, basically every Bury Me a song starts with complete gibberish. We have no idea what the hell we're saying. It's just like words flying at the wall. And then we'll go to like the iPhone recordings and be like, oh, this makes sense. Oh, okay, we can add this here and that and kind of get a mood for it. I would say lyrics probably take the longest.
Yeah.
Out of writing.
No, that definitely makes sense. And let's pull the plug and stick our lines in a different amp because I want to riff about something different right now. And one of those things is the music industry, which you guys are clearly in. And so what is your opinion on music streaming services and their impact on the music scene?
I mean, I think if you do them right, you can definitely see bonus potential. A lot of it, I think, right now is regulated towards building artists opposed to having them profit off the sites like Spotify, Apple Music and stuff. Is you don't see a lot of profit off of it, but it can help you grow when you know you're trying to send an EPK out and you're trying to build yourself and book these next shows. Is the higher that your streaming services show you kind of plays on your songs, kind of shows how popular you kind of are.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But do you think like Apple Music and Spotify have helped or hurt, the financial viability of musicians today?
I was gonna say, I feel like it's made it a lot easier for the little guys to get their foot in the door. I mean, our first few tracks were recorded in my basement with just a basic computer setup and almost nothing else. And the reality is, if we weren't able to do that, we wouldn't be able to do any of the things that we're doing right now. And that was able to turn us into getting music online. And now, suddenly there's individuals in the Philippines or France listening to our songs because of somebody like Spotify. But I think there's a point kind of after that, once you've got your foot in the door and kind of understood it, where now you can't make any money off of it. So it's giving access to everybody, but man, is it kind of like cutting us down to the knees as far as like actually trying to make a living, which is the hard.
Yeah, I'm shocked you still have your Achilles because Gohora fans, they've been heavily criticizing the group because they've been touring recently and merchandise has been a heavy topic in the last 2 months.
Ooh, yeah.
And what do fans need to know about touring artists and the fees that because I mean they're even talking about how even they want to cut at the bar because merchandise cuts are being taken from the venue. So you guys have a stance on that?
I mean, I think any retail, like if you're going out and you're putting yourself into selling the goods and stuff, you should be able to take that, especially for touring bands. It's hard enough touring as it is with budgets and being able to get to the next city, let alone, a venue or someone taking 20% of your merch sales, which I know goes as high as 40, I've heard.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I think merchandising should be left alone. We've been lucky enough that we haven't seen any contracts or anything with a cut of merch sales, luckily. But I know it's out there.
Or what do you think about dynamic pricing? Because, first dynamic pricing got going with like Bruce Springsteen and Taylor Swift, but now it gone and dripped its way into the pop punk world with Blink-182. Are you guys familiar with what dynamic pricing is with Ticketmaster and Live Nation?
Yeah,
yes,
horrible.
Sir.
Yeah, and I mean, isn't that like a shitty thing? Because there's a lot of joke in the pop punk world. Like, I mean, myself personally, I've already said it numerous times on air. I love Blink-182, but they are a 3-chord progression band. I'm not paying $300 to sit way in the back. Don't you think that's a disservice for the new generation that wants to go and see a show who didn't grow up with Warped Tour, matter of fact? To go and see it on a lot of groups.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, yeah, I mean, Warped Tour, you spend $25 and you get to see, countless amount of bands back in our day. But now, yeah, you have to pay $300 to get nosebleeds to see Blink-182, and maybe you could make out Tom's head.
Yeah. You're going to need binoculars, like when you go to the ballpark when you're up on section 306.
Oh my God, it's him.
So true, guys. Very, very true. And we wanted to make sure we have enough time to be playing an actual visual. You guys got an amazing music video that you guys did with the previous release, and the song is called Trainwrecks. It's spelled TRNWRCK. So if you want to look up that single right after the show, or just type in Bury Mia. I don't know why I made it that difficult, but we're going to be playing the visual right now, live on the Chris College Show, Millennial Talk Show. So Marissa, let's get it on, fam.
If I paid attention, would you commit? Shelter eyes for future nourishment. All apprehensive, so apprehensively. If I could stay over, would you insist? Make up the couch in your roommate's house. A little obsessive, little obsessively. Turn your head, close your mouth. Open the door to a knee on the floor. Open the door to a knee on the floor. One more song about the last birthday ever. Train wreck together. Honest with yourself, darling. This castle has a turbo. One more song about if I held a poison, would you breathe it? Trust clumsy hands with antitoxins. How distressing, little distressingly. Turn your head, close your mouth. Open the door to a knee on the floor. Open the door to a knee on the floor. One more song about the last birthday ever. Train wreck together. Honest with yourself, darling. This castle has a turbo. One more song about one more song about the last first date ever. We train wreck together. Honest with yourself, darling. This castle has some turbo. One more song about the last first date ever. Train wreck together. Honest with yourself, darling. This castle has some turbo. One more song about then you'll ever know.
That is Bury Mia's music video, Trainwreck, and that is out on YouTube or wherever you listen to your music streaming platforms. But gentlemen, thank you so much for joining the Chris College Show, Millennial Talk Show. And what are your plans for the coming months?
So immediately tonight we have a show at Globe Hall. So if you're in the Denver surrounding area, come out. We'll be
Sweet.
So
celebrating,
you're gonna celebrate that
drinking a
St.
bunch of beer.
Patty's Day, huh? Gonna
Oh,
get I love it. Green
So
beer.
what's, so what's the drink of choice?
Bear
Drink of
fights.
choice is gonna be
Bear fights.
bear
Bear fights?
Okay, bear
What's
fights.
If you know what a
What's
bear
that?
fight is, it is a
No.
drop shot. You basically mix a car bomb with the Jaeger bomb.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
in
and
order.
it's beer. Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know it was called a beer shot. I've done those. Those are deadly.
No,
Oh,
You
there
should
you go.
only do maybe two. Maybe two if you plan on singing.
Yeah,
Plan on
right.
anything.
Well, you guys have been awesome souls. We
Mm-hmm.
cannot wait to hear more music from you guys. You're more than welcome to come back on Strike A Chord, and we'd love to talk about your guys' new potential full-length LP or EP in the works. So thank you again. Kudos.
Absolutely. Big shows and
Oh, yeah.
probably a tour this year. So we're excited.
Yes,
Rock
love
and roll.
it.
Love to hear the good vibes. And for everybody that is tuning in right now to the Chris College Show, Millennial Talk Show, stick around as we got more left on the show. What's good, fam? We could always use a little bit of good in this world. So Marissa Pitts and we want to let you guys know what's good. And I love this story because there is a powerlifting champion who is doing all that he can to make this world just a little bit more accommodating for people living with disabilities, or even our elderly folks, because I hate to break it to you, CCS family, we're going to get old at one point. And Javino McLean, has opened a gym called the J7 Health Center in Manchester, United Kingdom, to specifically train individuals with disabilities and our elderly people. So we have a little video clip that will showcase what that's all about. Oh, I thought I did. Oh, my bad. I don't have it up here. Let me see if I can actually pull it up.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Chris must have it on the side.
I got caught
Well, here
slipping.
it is. There it is.
Up. 5 seconds. 3 more, baby. Go on. 2 more. Go on.
Disabled people don't look for sympathy. Disabled people are people who are ill, don't look for pity. They're not saying pity me, they're saying encourage me, like motivate me. Yeah, they're saying challenge me. I want to be challenged. If I can take you from out of your reality, where we all as humans go through sadness, bad days, difficult times, if I can take you out of your reality and bring you into a world where it's just me, you, vibes, laughs, energy, love, I can make you do things that you never thought was possible.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story. I think people like him is truly needed, and I know, Marissa, you guys cater for that even in your own
I mean, as
place
a
well.
certified personal trainer, like being able to, 6 days a week, I train people early morning. I'm up at 3:30. I'm doing it and watching I'm going to cry because watching the transformation of people go from what they think they can do physically or told they can do physically. And then being able to break that barrier, right? And especially dealing with someone who is disabled and stuff. I mean, more people like him need to be there. More facilities need to be like that. Needs to be accessible. So I'm going to cry because I was like, so what's good?
No, absolutely.
I love that.
I mean, I was privileged to grow up at an elementary school right up the block, Sumner and Danbury Elementary School. And Danbury was the school for disability kids who had an amazing facility like gyms and playgrounds. And, I demand that actually at every single school front in the United States. And you should too. And I think this is a great movement from across the pond. So, Mr. McLean, we appreciate you, young man, and keep doing what you're doing because I think it's a positive movement and outlet for the rest of the world to embrace. And, we want to do another shout out again to our amazing jam-packed lineup that joined us today on this Friday show, which is Ryan Lacen. He is the writer and director of his second feature film, which is called All the World is Sleeping, out now on demand or in theaters. And also check out Denver Pop Punk Kings Barry Mia, out now with their brand new single. And yes, I will say it one last time. The song track is called We Are Trying to Reach You About Extending Your... Oh, sorry. I just butchered it, Marissa. Oh, my God. We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. There we go. Sorry. I felt like I was reading a Dr. Seuss line. But hey, for everybody that's going to be joining us for next Friday, we got something cooking up. So, you need to follow us on social media to get insight on all those deets. But I can let you know that my co-host for my video game talk show, Rage Quit, Hendrik the Wreck, is going to be joining us next Friday for Just Talking, and we might have a special guest as well. So keep a lookout. Might be juicy, might relate to that world. Hey, you don't know unless you follow us on social media. And for everybody that's tuning into the ChrisCollegesShow.com, become a member today and get that free CCS t-shirt. And also check out Off the Fret, more music talk, featuring Nashville country star Amanda Cooksey, out now on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. For now, enjoy the weekend, CCS family, and Marissa Pitts and me. We'll see you next week. Peace. What's good? It's Chris from the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show, featuring Nashville singer-songwriter Amanda Cooksey, known for her breakup songs, crop tops, and TikTok covers, is a refreshing new voice in country music. Joins Off the Fret. More music talk. What's good, party people? Chris Collins Show presents Music Storm 2022, hosted by Chris Collins and Marissa Pitts, featuring Royals, Hurricane Highway, Cannibal Kids, Amanda Cooksey, Astoria State, Kid Dad, Resounding, Sleep Cycles, Avenues, Freckles, Weather Worn, Just True, Sophia Marie, Music Storm 2022, available wherever you listen to podcasts. Our brand new podcast, Off the Fret.
I love it. It's more time to chat. Hello.
You look so
hear me?
jazzy. I love your outfit. How far would you go to start playing live music again? This slaps harder than my ex when she got her stimulus check. So, are you here to bring the sexual healing with your music? Called Everything is Everything, and I guarantee you're going to hear this song in the future. I love the flow, man. Politically charged album. So if you get easily offended, this might not be the album for you. Brand new podcast, Off the Fret.
So excited.
Has Kim Kardashian accidentally sent you a coochie shot?
Do you want to stay there? It's completely your choice. Or you want to...
I feel you. And you know what I love? Off the Fret. More music talk. Peace.